All right, folks, we're going to look over our homework for today. This is the translation homework that we had. With this, I'm going to look over numbers 1 and number 6. Okay, so looking at number 1. Now we were given this. Shape right here, and let's go ahead and just spend some time before we look at the translation. Let's put where these points are. So let's see. T is at -1, -1. B is at -3, -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -3, -5. And then we have G over here at -1, 2, 3, -1. Okay, so we're always counting from the origin. We go negative this direction, positive, negative down, positive up. Okay, so these are our points. Now, these are the pre-image points, so we can even go ahead and put those in there. We could say, well, G is -3, -1. Remember, the pre-image is before we translate, before we move it, slide it to another position. So we have G, T, and B. All right, here's our pre-image. Okay, so that's like how I set it up. I look to see, well, where are the points I'm talking about specifically from GTB triangle here. I put the pre-image points here, and now I want to figure out what translation I'm talking about. Okay, so the translation has 5 to the right and 2 up. Okay, so if I'm doing a translation, this is going to be 5 to the right. Remember, we put the X first, how the X is going to work. And since it's 5 to the right, that's talking about our X movement. So I'm going to put +5 for X because it's to the right, it's positive. And then 2 up is talking about the Y difference, the Y translation. So we're going to put +2. Okay, so we have positive, we have T 5, 2, and we're applying that to the X and Y points. We're going to apply it to each of these set of points to get our image, which we call our values prime. Prime G, or G prime, T prime, B prime. Okay, so our translation is T 5, 2, X, Y. And I'm just going to put that for here, put that for all of them here. Remember, part of the work for translations and transformations is keeping it organized. Okay, so that's the transformation I'm going to apply to each point. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the point -3, -1. I'm going to take the point -1, -1. So I'm looking at each of these points. I'm going to apply the transformation after I get them all set up here. So -5. All right, so now what we're doing is transforming 3, -1. That's our G point. We're transforming it 5, 2. 5 for X. Remember, X comes first, +5. And then Y, +2. And what are we going to do to point T? -1, -1. We're going to add 5 to X, right? Add 5 to X. Add 2 for Y, right? The transformation, or excuse me, the translation symbology tells us what we're doing. 5, 2 means we add 5 to X, we add 2 to Y. 5, 2 means we add 5 to X, add 2 to Y. So I'm just going to keep doing this. And now all we have to do now is combine our values here, because what we've set up -3 plus 5 for X. We're taking the X value, we're adding 5. We have -1 for Y, and we're adding 2 to that. So our G prime, this is the final answer, and we put the little prime symbol there. G prime is going to be -3 plus 5 is 2. -1 plus 2 is 1. And there we have G prime. Okay, let's do it for the rest of them. This is going to be T prime because it's our final image. -1 plus 5 is 4. -1 plus 2 is 1. Okay, so we're just combining the original X value from our pre-image plus the translation of +5, because that is the translation we have. We just apply it to each point. Notice how it's 5 and 2, 5 and 2, 5 and 2, because that is +5 for X, +2 for Y. That is what our translation is. All right, and we have B prime. B prime is -3 plus 5 is 2. -5 plus 2 is -3. Okay, so that might be a little bit of work, to do the positive negatives. But now we have our final image, And that's all we have to do. We have to go ahead and draw it here, and then we're done. So G, I can just use my coordinates here. G is 2, 1. That's G. Okay, T is 4, 1. Okay, that's T prime. B prime is 2, -3. B prime. And I go ahead and connect that. This is our translated value. And you could see if it translates 5 right, 2 up. Let's see what happens for G. Let's just follow G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 up. 1, 2. Yep, that gets us a G prime T. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 up, 1, 2. That gets us a T prime. And B, of course, is going to be 5, 2, gets us to B prime. So that is a number 1. Okay. Take a screenshot if you need it. 3, 2, 1. Screenshot. Okay. Now let's look at this one. Let's look at this one. And with this one, we have a little bit more complex of a shape. So let's go ahead and find where these points are first. And actually, I did not put the values here. Oh, I love it when it hides the window. I need. Why you do that? All right, one sec, guys. All right, so this is J. This is M. This is X. This is E. That's all I needed. Okay, so let's go ahead and write what those points are. Let's see. M is 1, -2. X is 3, -3. E is -2, -4. And J is -2, -3. Okay, so now we have the points. Let's go ahead and write those in here. J, -2, -3. M, 1, -2. E, -2, -4. That should be capital E. Points are capitalized. Let's see, X, 3, -3. Okay, so I'm just setting it up. I've set it up. I've done all the work, the pre-image work. Now I'm going to do what the translation is. The translation is right 2, which means to the right is +2, and up 3, which is +3. So this is the translation I'm going to be applying. Right 2, 3 up. Remember, this applies to the X, that applies to the Y. Right, side to side, is talking about the X. Up, 3 is talking about Y. So these are the translations I'm going to do. I'm going to do translation 2, 3, X, Y. I'm going to apply it to X, Y. Translation 2, 3, X, Y. And the thing with this is when we apply this translation to each point, it is the same as moving the entire shape, that translation. Because if each point moves 2 to the right, 3 up, 2 to the right, 3 up, 2 to the right, 3 up, the whole new shape is just going to be shown in the new position because we can move each point. Okay, here's the conversion. We're finding how we're going to apply the translation to our original points. And what are the original points? We had -2, -3 for X, right? For J. We had 1 and -2 for M. We have -2 and -4 for E. And we have 3 and -3 for X. Okay. And now let's look to see what are these translations I'm doing. I'm applying a +2 for X and a +3 for Y, right? I'm applying a +2 for X, a +3 for Y. And the same for all of them because we're applying the same translation to all of the points. All right, and then we're going to end up with our primes. We're going to end up with J prime, and that's going to be -2 + 2. See, this isn't an equation in here. The conversion is just looking at a set X, Y, and what you're doing is you're adding or subtracting what the translation is to each point, to each part. X is -2. Y is -3. We're adding 2 to X. -2 + 2 is 0. We're adding 3 to -3, and we get another 0. So J prime is 0, 0. Okay. We're just combining these guys. That's all we're doing. M prime, 2 or 1 + 2 is 3. -2 + 3 is 1. All right. E prime, -2 + 2 is 0. -4 + 3 is -1. That's E prime. X prime, 3 + 2 is 5. -3 + 3 is 0. All right, so we got a lot of zeros in there, but we got some ones, we got different values. Those are the images, and that's where we're going to draw our new image. Okay. So let's see. Let's go ahead and put J prime at 0, 0. That's J prime. Okay. M prime, right? M prime is 3, 1. 3, 1. There's M prime. E prime is 0 for X, -1 for Y. There's E prime. And finally, X prime is 5 for X, 0 for Y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0 for Y. There it is. And this is our new shape, guys. That's it. We did it. We did it. We're champions of the universe. And Here we go. That's our new shape. Okay. So let's look at what we did all together. Well, we can double check ourselves. Did it go to the right 2 and up 3? To the right 2, up 3, J. Yeah. To the right 2, up 3, E. To the right 2, up 3, M prime. To the right 2, up 3, X prime. So yeah, this is it. J prime, M prime, E prime, and X prime. Okay, so those are all of the values, all of the points moved. Now, what do we do? I'll just look at this one again. I found all the points for my original shape, J, M, E, X, got my points. I figured out what the translation was. If we go 2 to the right, that tells me what this number is going to be because this number is talking about how X changes. 3 up is talking about this number. That's how Y changes. Okay? So that translation we wrote here, translation 2, 3 of XY, XY, XY. And then all I'm doing is applying the translation to each of my pre-image points. I do that here in the conversion part of the table, giving me my new image. These are all my prime values. All the prime values are where the shape moves. I went ahead and just labeled or found where these points were. And that allowed me to find where the new shape is. This shape has been translated up to that one. Okay. And looking here, we have the same thing we did up here for number 1, but it was just for a triangle. So I think that concludes the looking over the homework. I hope this helps. And we will have a chance at the beginning of the class this week to look again. All right, thank you.